So we're going to be looking at brushes. So in previous activities, we've learnt about how to use the brush tool and some of the controls up at the top here, like blending mode, opacity, and flow. But there's way more to brushes. That brushes can be controlled and customized quite deeply. So just using this picture as an example, just as a background, the default brush here is just a normal round soft brush. Let me just set the foreground color to red so that we can see what's happening. So of course you can change the size of the brush with your square brackets. You can do all of that stuff. But if I click on this button up here, which will open up my brush settings panel, there's so much more I can do here. So I can change, for example, the spacing so that my brush is no longer just a solid brush. I can scatter. I can add color dynamics. I can do all sorts of things. And so suddenly brushes become much more powerful. And you can customize existing brushes and save them as presets. So up here you have your presets where you can save your brush presets, or you can even add the brush as a new brush. So pretty powerful. The other thing that you can do, which a lot of designers do, is actually go and look for brushes online. There are literally tens of thousands of brush packs for Photoshop. Some of them are free, some of them you will pay for. So in this activity, I've supplied you with a file which is just a downloaded brush pack. It's called clouds.abr. So .abr is the brush extension. So I'm just going to import those just to show you the kind of thing that you can get. So I'm going to go to my brush tool and I'm just going to set my foreground color to white. So I'm going to press D for default colors and then X to swap them around. So I have white. I'm then going to go to my brushes, brush settings here, and I'm going to go to this option here, this little settings icon, and I'm going to choose import brushes. And I'm going to choose that clouds.abr and open it, and it's going to add it in here. Okay, so I now have two of them because I actually did this already. So let me just delete this group. So I've just got one clouds group. So you'll see if I look at them here, it's not terribly useful to be previewing my brushes like this if they are custom brushes, because I can't really see what the design of the brush is. However, I can test them out just by selecting and going into a picture, but I need to make a selection first. So I'm going to use my quick selection tool and just select the sky and make a new layer so that I'm doing this in a non-destructive way. So with my brush tool, I'm going to go and choose one of these brushes. Let's try this one. And you can make it bigger or smaller with your square brackets. I'm going to make it just as big as the width of the entire document, and then I'm just going to click once. So you can see quite amazingly this brush is basically a brush of different clouds, different cloud types, and just with one click I've actually added almost a photographic type of cloud result to this image. So this is the kind of brush where it wouldn't be suitable for me to actually brush like this, because it doesn't work. It's actually just a one click because I'm literally stamping an image onto the picture. So that's how you can use imported brushes of various designs. How do you make your own brushes? So let's have a look at that. So I'm just going to close this without saving and open up this document, Cruising Shark. So I want to make a shark brush. So I need some artwork for that. So, and your artwork needs to be basically black and white in order for you to be able to make a brush out of it. So what I'm going to do is take my quick selection tool, set the brush down a bit, and I'm going to select the shark. Okay, very quickly, and yeah, okay, that's great. And then pressing D so that my default colors are black foreground, white background. I'm going to Control or Command backspace to fill that selection with white. Then I'm going to invert my selection, and I'm going to Option or Alt backspace to fill the background with black. Then I'm going to deselect, Command or Control D, and I'm going to go Image, Trim, Top Left Pixel Color. So what it's saying is whatever the top left pixel color is, trim it away from the top, bottom, left and right until you find another pixel's color. So when I press OK, it trims this right down to just the size of the shark. So this is going to be my brush. So I'm going to go to Edit, Define Brush Preset, and I'll call it Mike's Shark Brush, and say OK. Right, so now I have that brush, and I can see that it's actually the wrong way around. I should have made it the shark black and the background white. So I'm going to undo that, and I'm just going to go Image, Adjustments, Invert. Okay, and I'm going to make that again. Define Brush Preset, Mike's Shark Brush 2. That's better. Okay, so now I can start working with this brush. So I'm going to just make a blank canvas. So I'll just say Print A4 and OK. And then you can see with my square brackets I can change the size of the brush. I can stamp them and I can paint them like that, but that's not really what I want. I want it to be a little bit more organic than that. So I'm going to go to my brush settings, and to brush tip shape I'm going to increase the spacing. Shape dynamics, I'm going to change the size randomly and the angle randomly. I'm going to go to scatter. I'm going to scatter them out a bit, and I'm going to increase the count. So there's quite a lot of them. And the count jitter. Wherever you see the word jitter, it just means randomly change it. I'm not going to put a texture on it or have a dual brush, but I am going to put some color dynamics on. So I'm going to change the foreground color to a sort of gray blue, and the background color to a light gray. And then I'm going to say apply per tip. So each shark gets a different color, and the color jitters between those two colors. I don't want the hue, saturation or brightness to jitter at all. So let's just test this. Okay, so that's not bad. So I get a whole shoal of sharks, different shades of gray, and that's what I want. So I'm done with this brush now. So I'm going to go to New Brush Preset, and I'm going to call this Mike's Shark Scatter Brush. And I'm going to say Capture Size in Preset and Include Color. Okay, so that's now done. So now what can I do with this brush? So as an example, I've supplied you with a Photoshop document here, which is the beginnings of a postcard. So let me show you what it is. It's that background. Then we've got some caustics. So caustics is the word for those kind of diamond shapes you get at the bottom of a swimming pool on a sunny day. So we've got some caustics, we've got some text that says Durban, some more text that says Meet the Locals, and some more water caustics at the top that's bigger. So it's kind of set up for us. So what I want to do is I want to, first of all, with the bottom water caustics, I want to set the blending mode to overlay, and then I'm going to add a layer underneath Durban, and I'm going to call this Deep Sharks. And I'm going to take my brush, make sure it's on that shark brush, and just make these a little bit bigger. And I'm just going to paint some sharks. Okay, it's quite a lot there. Let me actually change my dynamics a little bit. Let's bring the count down to 1. Okay, and I'm also just going to change my color to darker color. So let's go with a much darker blue and a much darker gray. Okay. Okay, so with the water caustics, I'm going to change the opacity so we can see the sharks a bit better. So that's our deep sharks. Then we're going to go with the word Durban, and then I'm going to make another layer, and this is going to be shallow sharks, and this I'm going to make them bigger, and I'm just going to stamp a few sharks around here. Okay, then we're going to meet the locals, and then we've got our top water caustics, which I'm going to set to, let's set it to, I think overlay is okay, and I think that's okay. And I need to change some of the sharks are not visible enough here, so for the shallow sharks layer I'm going to go to effects, color overlay, and let's change that to white, and just take the opacity down a bit, just until we can actually see them better. And the same for the deep sharks, effects, color overlay, and let's just make those a little bit more visible. Okay, so this is the idea, that you can use your own custom brushes to do really lots of things. I mean, there's almost no limit to the application of brushes, and in your particular line of study, I'm sure you can think of many ways that you can design and save your own brushes to save you time. So just get some practice with this exercise. I just want to show you the final postcard. I've rushed this a little bit so it doesn't look as nice, so I just want to go to the original and open that so that you can see what I was going for. Okay, so that's the actual result that I wanted. So let me just check. So the water caustics, actually the blending mode that I used was color dodge. So if I go back here, let's do that, color dodge. Okay, and yeah, okay, so that's looking much better. So color dodge, and then the bottom water caustics was on multiply. Okay, so you can play around with this and get your own result, but the idea here is to create a postcard using a shark's brush. I hope you've enjoyed this video. Please subscribe to my YouTube channel, and see you next time.